Okay, so in this video we'll be creating the step count display. So we'll be showing the steps that the player has made, which will be acting like the score. So this score needs to be displayed and updated as the player jumps over the blocks. So first things first, since it's a 2D item, so we have to add a label to the canvas. So the label is going to be what will be showing the current number of steps that the player has made. So under the canvas, you can see I've right-clicked canvas, then go on label. I'll just close the start menu. First of all, I'll name this to steps. Okay, then I'll close the start menu so that you see that they are both children of the canvas. So once we do that, we'll just modify its size and its position. We want it to be on top. Okay, you can put it exactly where you want, but I'll just have it here on top, and then we can change its size. I'll give it maybe let's say 45 by 52. Then the string, so for now it will store a 0. Okay, and then we can also change its font size. Maybe let's just add it by 10. Okay, so that's fine. Of course you can do further things with it. I'll go ahead and then now add it to the game manager. So the game manager script is here. So let's see. Okay, I have it here. So in our game manager, we'll create a property for it. So this is for the what can we call it, label for the score or for the steps. So we'll say public factors property which say type label. So it doesn't seem to recognize this, so we'll have to manually import it. Okay, so public steps label type label, and then it can be empty. Let's just import the label. So whenever you're coming across errors for the types, so like type node, type prefab, type label, so you have to make sure that that's imported. So ideally it's supposed to do it automatically, but if your PC is slowing down, you might have to do it manually. So once you do that, that problem should be able to see it without that error. So once we do that, when we go to the game manager, so let's just wait for it to refresh. Okay, so when we come to the game manager, you see that we'll see the steps label here. So this is the property that we just created. So we can then drag our steps inside there. So just drag it from there inside there, so that we can then manipulate the value, its string, from the source code. So all we now need to do is be updating this value from 0, okay, to the current number of steps. Thankfully, we already have a variable that's keeping track of the of the number of steps the user has made. That's why we created the move index variable. But first of all, before we do that, we need to go and change something in the playing state. Okay, so here when we created the set current state, so we had created the game state playing. So inside this state, we just need to make sure that the value is set to 0 every time the player starts playing. Okay, the moment the player gets into the playing state, the score has to be reset to 0, because if it's not, and then it's game over, and then the player starts playing another round, they will continue the steps from the previous round, right? It will be displaying the steps from the previous round. So we need to reset it to 0. So we can easily do this by just checking first of all if the steps is true. This dot steps label. So if this is true, meaning that we imported it successfully, we dragged it in here successfully, right, like this. So since we dragged it successfully, so it should be true, it exists. Okay, and then we can then set up its value. So we'll set it to 0. Okay, so put a comment here, reset to 0 at the start of play. Okay, then once that is done, we can then go into the on jump end, so that every time the a jump comes to an end, we can set its we can increase from 0 to the value of the on jump end. So here's the on jump end. So this one runs when the jump is done. Okay, when the jump is completed. So inside it, we'll do the same check first. So if this dot steps label exists, if that's true, then we can go on steps label dot string. Okay, so the string property can then be, first of all, we'll actually we will what do you call this, cast it. So casting means we're changing its type. So I'll explain why we're changing its type. We need to change it to a type of string because the values from move index are actually in numerical form. So that's a number, right? So it's a different type of variable. And then the steps label is a string, so it's a text type of variable. So in that case, we need to cast it from number to string. So the easiest way of casting is you just use the quotes. Okay, so you use the quotes even without a space. So you say quotes plus and then whatever variable you have. Now for the variable, we won't just pass it directly. We won't just say move index like this. Okay, of course this can work, but it has a problem of in the case that maybe the user goes beyond 50 steps, it's going to be showing a score of more than 50. So we actually need to just do a simple check. So we can use a ternary operator, okay, to simply just check and make sure that that the number of steps that's given to the string is always at a maximum of 50. So we'll check first of all, is move index greater than equal to the road length. So if it's greater than the road length, then the value we'll give is the road length. Okay, if it's less than, then we'll give move index itself. Okay, so that's the safer way of writing it. So we say, so if move index is greater than or equal to the rod length, right? So if it's larger, meaning that if the player has gone beyond 50 steps, then the steps will show 50. Instead of showing 51, 52, we'll show 50. Okay, we'll get the size of the rod, which is 50, and that's what we'll display. But if it's less than 50, maybe the player stopped at 43, maybe at 36, then we can give them the actual move index. So the move index is given if you've not gone beyond 50, in short. And then the maximum size of the rod is given if we've gone beyond, or if we are at 50. So that's pretty much the idea here. So we've cast it to string from number, and then okay, made sure we always score up to 50. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what we need to do. So we'll run it. Okay, just wait for the refresh. Okay, then we will try running it. Okay, so our score is showing them. Okay, so alright, so we can see when we come to our game over, it still has 1. But the moment we go into play, when we go into the initialization state, it will reset to 0. Okay, so we jump. Okay, so this is working fine now. So like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.